Hello and welcome to another out-of-spec detailing video. You join me at Clear Detailing in Windsor, Colorado with Colton.
Hi there.
Who you're used to seeing on this channel. And Colton's been driving my Rivian the last couple days and got it really dirty.
Yeah.
Actually, I took it on a 3,000 mile trip roughly from here to Seattle, and then threw a trailer on it with my Leaf and then towed the Leaf in this back to here. So roughly a 3,000 mile trip with almost no protection on the paint.
Right.
Really kind of a worst case scenario for paint. And what we thought would be kind of fun is there's a lot of Rivian owners out there buying their trucks, and me included, and I would like Colton's advice on how to wash the truck properly. So many people, this might be the first nice vehicle they've purchased, or they just want to take care of it. And so I thought front to back, from car washing supplies to areas to look out for, to not mess anything up or to take extra care and attention. We thought we'd do a how to wash your Rivian R1T video.
Yeah, I'm excited for this one. So let's just start walking around the truck, seeing the condition it's in. So obviously front end, you just did that huge road trip, bugs on bugs on bugs. This is like a big slab here. It attracts every single bug from everywhere. All of the plastic is really starting to show its age.
Yeah, we have
this
some
car,
fading.
as we talked about, did not have any protection on it. It had a light kind of a ceramic sealant that we applied, but nothing going through paint correction, ceramic coatings, anything like that.
And maybe we should talk about that too, because this is a lot of people's first vehicle. And it seems the trend online is buy a Rivian R1T and you just have to paint protection film the whole thing.
Sure.
And you're in for, you know, if you go through Rivian's program, $4 grand, I think, $4,500, something like that, which is the deal of the century.
Absolutely. Now, I think there's a few caveats with that. I don't think we're wrapping every single edge. That's through XPEL, so XPEL Ultimate Plus or Stealth. So you could essentially make this a satin or matte finish on any color.
The thing with that is not very much a styling enhancement project. That is like, let's just protect the bulk of the paint.
Yeah.
From scratches off-roading or bumping into it. And I think people don't necessarily realize that's not going to make the truck look any better. In fact, it's probably going to make it look worse.
Yeah.
But it's going to protect the paint at least from scratches and dings and things like that.
Yep. And as we're talking about on this channel, I'm not a huge fan of PPF.
Yeah.
I think for these trucks, you know, we got the chance to look at Brandon's, that he had entire wrap truck with a kind of revolutionary film, I would say, because it had a ceramic coating built in. Pretty cool technology. Few nitpicks here and there. I can nitpick all day. Yep. But I thought it was a pretty cool technology in that regard. My personal preference.
What film was that, by the way?
It was Suntech Reaction, I believe it was.
Right, because that was a PPF film with a ceramic coating in it.
Yeah. And I wouldn't say it was the strongest ceramic coating, just from what I saw washing it, but I think it's kind of a cool technology. I think it's on kind of the bleeding edge of getting into the newest stuff. My personal preference is if you're going to put PPF, put a heavy ceramic coating on top of it.
Right. So, and of course, you know, we can get into like exact PPF stuff going forwards and things like that. But overall, my impression is most people don't need to go and spend a huge amount of money PPFing their vehicle. And I guess this is a whole topic, but my points are, it doesn't help really with resale of the car. I mean, for the most part, if you trade it into a dealer, they don't care.
I think some do and some don't. I find it to be a detraction in some, you know, instances. You guys will see, we did a 3-part series on a Cayman.
Yep.
We removed the entire film on the car because it was such a poorly installed job.
Right, and the film was pretty terrible too.
It was. Now that was one case. I've seen better installs. Just in general though, I'm not a PPF guy. My personal opinion is to do paint correction on the truck, ceramic coat it, enjoy it, and then continually maintain it, washing it. And that's what we're going to go through today.
Right, is washing it. And I would say we'll make a podcast on it, but I am PPF when when it's like, I know this truck's going to get, you know, pinstriped off-road and stuff like that, because the ceramic coat's not really going to help with that. But today it's all about front to back washing the Rivian. So the state of the truck is bugs baked into the paint. This thing's been in hot weather. These bugs are in there. They're not coming out.
Right.
We got headlights that are just hazed over. It is not looking pretty.
Yeah, and like I was talking about before, all the trim. So you've got about 13,000 miles on this. I think you've had this for 6 to 7 months.
No, like
right?
4 months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, something like that. Not a long time.
Yeah, so I'm already starting to see a couple of things. Trim is looking really rough.
Yep.
Now I use a product, it's G-Technic C4, that I would recommend definitely ceramic coating that. My personal opinion, have it done by a professional, but nonetheless, once it's kind of protected, you can go in.
Then it won't start looking like this over time.
Yeah.
We got bird dung on the truck. This is an area I think when we wash the truck, we want to take extreme note of, because there's paint protection film on the inside from the factory.
And check this this edge here, and we've talked about this.
Yeah.
We went through this whole Rivian.
Looking pretty bad.
Yeah, not the best.
But maybe better than raw paint getting eaten away.
It could
maybe.
be. It could be, yeah.
We got bugs over here in the mirrors. The windshield's coated with bugs. The truck's also really high. I mean, you put it in high suspension.
So I put it in that for a specific reason. Now, that is if you have it all the way lower down, you don't have access to these. I'm going to show you guys how I clean these, because it is important to get all of that dirt and grime flushed out of there. Wheels and tires, I don't think they have actually ever been scrubbed on this truck.
No, I would agree. I don't think once.
So we're going to go through a wash process of that. We're not going to be pulling the wheels off in this particular video.
This is a maintenance wash. This is someone who has one. They want to, like, you know, rather than just like letting the rag drop on the ground and go back on the paint, they know not to do that. This is for someone who wants to care for their truck and regularly wash it, like I would, you know, on Saturday mornings or something.
Let me show you some of the hot spots that I've noticed on Rivians. I've had a few through the shop now, kind of seeing them. Now, gear tunnel is one of the biggest ones if it wants to open.
Also,
here.
I just want to note before you pull this down, this is a totally different color than this door here.
Substantially different.
And so why are they two different colors?
Well, this entire panel has PPF on it.
Oh, okay.
I am not specifically sure what Rivian uses. I would kind of assume that they're...
with XPEL?
Yeah, I would think this is XPEL, but I've seen this out of XPEL, and they also have a 10-year warranty. Kind of interesting there.
Yeah, but it's basically yellowed over time.
Nonetheless, this is just locking itself now.
Yeah.
So a lot of hot spots to think about. Now, this truck hasn't really been, you know, properly maintained in a sense. I mean, Kyle drives this thing, takes it on road trips, doesn't do a full hand wash, but these gear tunnel areas, as long as in the doors as well, get really, really beat up. We're going to show a little bit of how to clean that.
Right, and that's before the inner seal. So basically, this is not sealed at all on the outside. Inside the gear tunnel stays nice and clean.
Right.
It's just this area that there's no outside rubber seal. Unlike the doors, actually, which are double sealed. By the way, one thing I always recommend, since it's a Rivian tip, I always turn off my climate control when I'm working with the vehicle like this, so it's not spinning up and turning down the AC compressor.
Every time you open and close it, it starts and stops and starts and stops.
That just wears it out. So I usually, you know, if I know I'm moving the thing around at low speed, I turn climate off. There is a small seal-ish situation here, and then the inner door seal, and you can see as well, really dirty inside the door sills.
Especially when you get into these hinges in areas like this. It's also important to keep those kind of cleaned out, rinsed out. I think we'll do one. It is raining outside, so we're not going to do a full crazy detail on one of those, but I can show you some tips and tricks on there of how to get that kind of clean, maybe even some protection as well we can quickly go through.
Yeah, that would be great. And over the last few days, maybe in the future, we should do an interior episode on this, but you actually just cleaned the interior, first time in 15,000 miles.
Yes.
And I would say it looks brand new.
It does. There's a few wear points on it that I've kind of noticed. I've really found that this kind of like chrome, almost goldish hued trim here, like on this, is very tricky and challenging to clean.
Oh, okay.
It seems to spot and streak very easily. So yeah, let's do a whole video on that. I think that'd be really cool to talk about as well.
Yeah, totally agree. So that'll be interesting. But, you know, in terms of seat bolster wear, another recommendation for Rivian, getting into the seat, if you take a look here on the side, I always recommend trying to lift your butt up and over. But even on my truck, they've been holding up really well, and I've seen people sit right on these bolsters.
The biggest amount of wear that I saw, I'm going to bring you right back in here real quick, this area, and this is just specific to this truck. But you can definitely see some of this. It's actually kind of gray, but you can see how it's shiny black here. So something to think about. I think that could be passengers getting in and out of it as well, not really knowing the truck too much. But yeah, overall, the interior is holding up nice. I love that it's got the vinyl inside instead of full leather. It seems to be wearing really well.
Yeah, so we'll do a whole interior detailing episode. But the truck is pretty big, so What are some other spots that we need to look for with water? Maybe not putting super high pressure through these.
So Rivian's definitely, this is, I don't know exactly, but these should have been a little bit more dust proof, I think, than they're kind of
They're not waterproof or dust proof really at all. They block the majority of it, but like we've taken them out into dry lake beds and through car washes, and even with them closed, you get dribbles and a lot of dust on the inside.
Lots of definitely, you know, all of these seals, they can kind of get in there. So I would say when you're washing your truck, make sure you take things out of there that you don't want getting wet or kind of gross like that.
Totally agree. The bed should be empty, or at least everything waterproof in there. Cleaning the bed itself is actually a little bit of a different story because this is really hard wearing plastic. So you can be pretty aggressive with this surface.
Yeah, so I would recommend normally doing a degreaser on here. Also noting when I detail these trucks, I come in here because they often get missed. Just areas like this, it's good around the hinges and stuff, especially in wintertime when you're getting mag chloride, really harsh chemicals, to not sit in here and kind of eat away paint or anything like that.
Right, so just to go in and kind of spray these areas. Would you recommend using a cleaner, like spraying and then hitting with a pressure washer?
Exactly what I do. Now I've got a little bit fancier setup than you may find for the DIY guys at home. I would say a great product for this is actually Simple Green. It's a nice, safe kind of cleaner. You can pick it up almost anywhere. You dilute it a little bit, spray it on here. You can go in with a little brush, rinse it out, and you're good to go.
So as winter's coming, maybe every month or so, or every 2 weeks, I don't know, what do you recommend?
So what I typically do when I do a wash is those door jambs. Larry Cosella, I think, called them the armpits of the car, which I think is perfect example of it. To make sure that you're hitting these once in a while because they do really, really build up. So what I do during a wash, I typically always dry out the door jambs, pick everything up, and it really stays nice.
Cool. So Simple Green in here, hit it with some water. Don't leave it out in the freezing. Put it in your garage after to let it all thaw out.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, so I use Simple Green sometimes. I use a little bit stronger degreaser in general. Just because I see vehicles that need a lot more work typically. But
I can't wait to get this thing out in the snow. Speaking of that, it's going to be a blast.
Absolutely.
It's going to be a blast. What do you recommend, by the way, just for getting into here or anything like that? These panels, I know you have to be really careful because the clips are all one-time use.
Right.
So if you pull this off by accident, you're screwed.
Sure. Yeah. So what you can do is, I'll show you guys when we get into the wheels. Basically, a lug nut brush. Essentially, I use kind of the same thing on the inside. To clean seats and everything, but if it really starts getting dirty, you can come in here, scrub that while the car's foamed down. You can also use a little Simple Green there, just agitate.
Nice. So basically everything back here you can be pretty aggressive with. You don't have to care about it.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is let's not put water directly into here or here intentionally, right? We still want to rinse it off because we don't want to let soap dry on there, causing more damage. But yeah, definitely something to think about.
Yeah, you can really see the yellowing difference, and just the fact that the PPF doesn't even match this panel, that's for another video. But the more up close you look, the worse it gets.
Yeah, it really does. One of the biggest things that I've been seeing with EVs as well is the introduction of car wash mode. Now, what does car wash mode do? So up here, these have a capacitive kind of touch point here, and what typically happens is you'll be washing down the truck, rinsing it with, either foam or high pressure water, hit this, and now you're spraying water directly into your charge port. Not what you want to do.
Yeah, that's not a good situation, I would say.
So let's actually jump in the truck. Kyle,
let me show everyone how to put it in car wash mode. If you guys hop in this side, I can run around to the other side to show. So just get over on the screen. And car wash mode is really cool, and we recommend doing this for automatic touchless washes if you're going through as well. And so we use it quite often. So you go here to the truck, and then you go here to the access and security menu, and you go car wash, and you go turn on car wash mode. Now the one thing I would recommend is to take the key with you out of the truck, or have the app open at least, because the interesting thing with a Rivian in car wash mode, it might look like you're not actually able to get into it. So let's show you how you have to actually open the door with this. So when you put the truck into car wash mode, you'll see all the handles go completely flat and they're not gonna auto present. So you sort of have to push here to flip it, and then you're able to pull the door open manually. But I've seen, actually one of my friends owns these trucks. He put it in car wash mode and he thought he was locked out. And he's like, I can't get in. It's like, no, you just gotta manually open the door. And the reason is so these aren't just getting in the way and opening and closing the whole time when you're washing the truck.
Yeah, the kind of drawback to that is I would like to clean inside there as well. So what you could do is pop this open as well while you're doing it, spray a little in here, agitate it. But that's going like really OCD detailing.
Yeah, maybe a bit much for a maintenance wash.
Exactly, but that's,
that's
my
you.
detail nerd is have to hit those hot spots.
I was going to say one more point about the washing situation, but I can't remember. Maybe I'll bring it up in a little bit.
Okay.
Anyway, let's continue. What else do you think we need to be mindful of? There's cameras over here, down here. Do you need to do anything special for those?
No, honestly, these cameras should be. I've never had issues with them being fully waterproof. No issues like that. Can treat them just like any other piece of the vehicle. You don't want to take a pressure washer and come up here and stand 2 inches away. But, definitely, yeah, just treat it like a normal piece of the vehicle. What I notice with these a lot is during the drying phase, there's a lot of dripping water. Want to make sure you hit those areas. We can talk about some different drying solutions.
Yeah.
This is kind of the OCD over the board top spec here.
Air dryer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is a heated and filtered air, so you're not sucking in any debris.
Right, but that's so important. It needs to be filtered because you don't want to just be like 200 mile an hour.
Yeah. My personal opinion is to not use compressed air.
Yeah.
Because you can see a lot at the bottom of them. Naturally, over time, they build up a little water condensation.
Yeah.
Rust the inside. Those rust particles now are basically sandblasting.
Oh, yeah, not a good situation. So. Yeah, overall, though, that also helps when you have a coated truck. I think a lot of trucks will kind of be like mine, totally unprotected. People just want to just wash it. And so how do you do that without damaging the paint?
Right.
There's also, maybe towards the end of this video, we can recommend that one product that we used on this truck a few months ago.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's right over here. This is from Geon, and a few companies make it, but this is wet coat. So essentially what it does, leaves a little bit of protection on there by simply activating it by water. It's a really, really cool technology. You can use it to kind of boost a coating, a previously coated car, or in your case, we put a little on there just to give it a little bit of protection.
Right, and I can definitely tell it's wearing off by now a little bit, which is fine, but maybe every month, every 4 weeks on a maintenance wash, you hit the truck with this, and that'll, at least hold you over to get something on the paint. So like that bird poop isn't just sitting on, these really harsh water spots aren't just digging in. Again, our plan is to actually wrap this truck.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I don't really care about the paint, but cool. So what's the process look like? Do we need 2 buckets? Do we need all this stuff? What do you think?
So my personal preference is, instead of just a 2-bucket wash, to have a 3-bucket.
Okay.
Alyssa, I'm going to bring you on over here. So I've got these all labeled. Now, I just prefer to have a 3.5-gallon bucket. I think it's just a little bit better than the 5-gallon. I've actually got these clear ones so that you can see the contamination. Now, importantly, in these, we were washing the Lucid earlier. These are a grit guard. These are a fantastic tool that goes in the bottom of this. Essentially what it does is traps the dirt underneath this. So when you are washing the truck, you are not bringing contamination back in and putting it on the vehicle. So we've got a full-on wheel bucket that is only for wheels, a clear water rinse, and then a wash bucket. Within the wash bucket, we'll have some car shampoo. I use Adam's car shampoo in this. You can kind of use your favorites. Kind of in general, though, I find that it's very cost effective and just a great product. I also like supporting Adams because they're a local company here. They're actually just about 50 miles down the road from us.
Yeah, we're trying to win that Adams sponsorship. So.
Yeah, definitely.
But no, I like Adams stuff. I think it's a little bit one step up from the stuff you normally find at Walmart or whatever, but maybe they have a Walmart partnership, I don't know. But there's a ton of car washes.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll do a comparison one day. That would make a fun video.
Absolutely. So these are kind of basics. I find these to be essential. I would not only have a 1 bucket because you can introduce a lot of scratching, swirl marks, especially these trucks are meant to be adventure vehicles, right? Going up in the mountains, going off dirt roads and doing that kind of, you've got a lot more harsh abrasiveness on here.
These things go through hell, the way we drive them.
They really do. So I think you could probably get this entire setup. You don't really need the dollies on here, but you could get this for, I don't know, $60 to $70.
Maybe we should put together like an Amazon link of here's everything you need, 1 click, boom, shopping list.
Yeah, I think that'd be super easy.
We'll do like a basic, here's the bare minimum.
Right. So other than, this is an over the top, just, ridiculous pressure washer setup.
Well, you're using it all day, every day, sure.
Yeah, this thing is the workhorse of, my business. This is a Kranzla. These things are about $1,300 or $1,400 a pop, which honestly, in my opinion, is not like crazy for the performance you get out of this. This is a deionized system, so basically taking the minerals out of the water so that when you're final rinsing the paint, you're not getting a ton of water spots.
I mean, if you do wash a lot outside, it might be worth it to invest in a DI system.
What I would say is more important is to just wash in the shade.
Okay.
You could get away with washing with this setup outside in the sun. I absolutely do not recommend washing in sun.
Sure.
We have it very privileged here to have a heated facility here, especially in the winter. Bring the cars in here, close down. But if you're at home washing this, pull it in the shade, let the paint cool down. That's really the way to go. So I would say if you guys have a basic pressure washer set up, go to Home Depot, get yourself a $200 or $300 pressure washer. I don't really think you need to nerd out on GPM and pressure and all that stuff.
Just
get
need
something that works.
Yeah.
So what you can also do is get some nozzles like this. I really like these stubby nose. So this is an MTM Hydro SGS35, rated for 5,000 PSI in this thing.
Damn, that'll wipe your paint clean off.
Yeah, it definitely would. And then the other thing is a foam cannon. Now this is an MTM foam cannon. I don't necessarily think you need to go that crazy. There's some cheaper Amazon ones that
you can get one for like 10 bucks.
Easily get that.
Yeah.
I mean, I just go through that, so that's why I've got.
Yeah, I mean, you use it every day, of course.
Exactly.
But like I said, I think we'll put a little Amazon link of just like, here's the cheapest basic wash kit. Definitely. And you can just click on that link. It helps the channel a little bit as well doing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe we'll sell our own stuff one day.
I think that should be a definite.
Okay.
The other essentials I would say is having kind of wash bucket tools. So in here, having all types of different wheel woolies and stuff like this to get in behind the wheels. Just a few different tools you can have there. You don't need to go overboard, just get the general. And then lastly, I would say is drying. So how are you going to dry the vehicle after the fact? I personally really like using actually they're by the Rag Company, and they're these huge towels. They soak up all the water. They're safe and gentle on the truck. And you can also use this in conjunction with it. But in general, I think that's a pretty simple setup. Honestly, you could probably $500-600 and have a setup that's going to last you a while.
Yeah, and that's including the pressure washer.
Including the pressure washer, if you've got one at home, even better.
Maybe $150-200.
Yeah, exactly. Between all of this and the chemicals.
And for a $90,000 truck, spend the extra $150, wash it every week or two, and it should last.
Yep.
And we've done some paint videos on the Rivian. If you're curious, you've done full corrections on them. We're really pleased with the paint quality.
Yeah, I'm pretty thrilled with it, especially from what we saw today.
Especially after the Lucid Air.
Nonetheless, yeah, I've been pretty happy with Rivian paint quality. There's a few nitpicks here and there, but I mean, overall, I'm very, very thrilled.
Cool. Well, why don't you show us how you wash it front to back then?
Yeah, so let's start wheels. So wheels are always the dirtiest, grimiest area. I'm going to get this set up quickly off camera here, but just noticing like in the wheel wells, I'm going to show you how to clean a full wheel well on that, as well as in and outside of the wheels.
Okay, very cool. So wheel soap into a wheel bucket.
Yeah, so that's just the basic Adams car shampoo that you can use on the paint.
Oh, so you're not using a wheel-specific shampoo then?
No.
Do you think it's needed?
With the chemicals that I use to clean wheels, that's actually another thing we'll talk about. Pns Brake Buster, I think, is a great overall wheel cleaner.
Okay. And that's a spray-on before type thing.
Yeah, so I've got it back there, Kyle, right next to you in an IK foamer. That's obviously OCD.
But you can just buy this in a bottle.
You can buy it in a bottle, spray it on there. I use it in this because I go through just crazy amounts of it.
Sure.
And that foams it, which is really cool.
Should we pump it up and should I hit the wheels?
It's already ready to go.
Do you want me to hit it?
Yeah, go ahead and hit it.
I'm working here. How about this? So that's Coleton filling up that bottle. That's not this bucket. That's not this making all the noise. Let's do it. Whoa! I'm not even sure how much to use.
Yes.
Yes.
Way more.
Oh, okay.
Just go for it. You got to get inside the barrel.
Oh wow, this thing really freaking rocks. Now, Rivians don't have carbon ceramic brakes, but one thing that I've always been told is if you have a carbon ceramic brake, don't use this
No,
and
this
let it
stuff
sit.
is safe on it.
This stuff is okay.
So that's why I really like this, is because
Okay.
it's a little bit more gentle than some of those other wheel cleaners. Now, I do use in conjunction with wheel cleaners there, but not the end of the world. So I'm gonna go in with Simple Green. This is something you guys can get at Home Depot, Lowe's, whatever it may be. What I like to do, come in here and just start knocking this down. What it's gonna do is eat away all of that dirt.
Oh, interesting, to spray the fender liners. And what's nice is it's a plastic wheel well fender liner in there.
Yes, I like dealing with carpet fender liners. It just drives me nuts.
It's like every GM product has carpeted fender liners,
Yeah.
and detailers hate them.
Yeah, because it just holds all that grime, and you can flush and flush and flush
Ah,
them.
it smells amazing.
Yeah, I love the Simple Green. It's just
I
fantastic.
love Simple Green too, yeah.
So let's jump in here.
What kind of chair is this for those
So
wondering?
this is the over the top, as I do everything, Viper chair, and just the best. Now this is a little bit of a tire cleaner, and I'm putting this on here just to kind of help the brake buster. The nice thing about brake buster, it actually cleans tires well too.
Well, I accidentally sprayed the tire everywhere.
No, it's perfect to do that.
Okay,
And that's
good.
why I like using this stuff over a regular wheel cleaner.
Yeah.
Some of those other wheel cleaners can really, yeah.
Look at how much embedded dirt was in
Yeah.
this tire.
So this is a little bit stiffer bristle brush here, and I'm just coming in, knocking down these tires, and yeah, again, grime city here.
And is it okay if you clip a wheel with that brush by accident?
Yeah, so you can feel that. It's still slightly soft.
Oh, yeah,
you don't
sure.
want to go in and scrub the face of the wheel, obviously, but be mindful of that for
Yeah.
sure. Now, what I also like to do, so I've got a dedicated wheel wash mitt here. So I use the black one for the wheels just because it's the dirtiest. And I'm going to come in here and hit the faces.
And you've seen all three different Rivian wheels now.
Yeah.
Do you think there's one in particular that's easier to clean, or are they all
By far,
equally?
I'd say this wheel's easier to clean
Okay.
because it's a little bit bigger. The 20s are a pain to get in between in the back, but I'll show you guys some cool tools here on how to do that. I also like to use a little microfiber for a second kind of knockdown here. So I'm going to fold this into quarters and just come in here. It helps get those really tight areas as well.
Interesting. That's pretty cool.
So what you can also do with this, and I believe it was Derek Bemis that came up with this, is you can come in and get behind the spokes right in there. I've also got a few other towels to do that as well, but it really helps loosen all of that nasty grime here. And it's important to note here, I'm not using a crazy expensive towel on this. It's a really dirty, nasty area to be around in here. So I single use these and then pitch them.
Oh, so you throw them out after one wheel?
Because
so you
brake
use
dust
four?
is just like the worst stuff out there.
Right, for paint and micro scratches and
So
stuff.
here's the little lug nut brush as well. And you can just come in, just get right in here. And you can even come in here and get little areas as well. Want to try and hit the calipers as much as possible. It's a little tight on these vehicles. You can always
not
move
much
them.
clearance here.
No, you can always move them forward and backward. This is probably, so most people can clean the faces of the wheels, right? Now, getting behind the spokes where the grime really is, something like this is fantastic. So what you can do, I think these brushes are 20 or 30 bucks. They last forever. I think I've had 2 of these for about 6 or 7 years.
And the nice thing about this type of work is if you wash your truck every week or every 2 weeks,
You don't have to go this crazy.
you don't need to go all in. And if you miss a spot one week, hopefully you get it the next.
Right.
This truck has had 14,000 miles of no washing basically.
Right.
And so it's a bit more of an extreme case.
And we are definitely not going to get these wheels perfect. I would prefer to take these off. We're not going to do that right now. And coat them and get them all easy to clean.
Right.
Again, my big thing, ceramic coatings make a huge difference. I'm just going to come in here because I know they've been really filthy, clean in and outside of the wheel as well.
Yeah, I'm definitely the kind of person, when I first get a vehicle, it's either all in or nothing at all.
Right.
So another spray down a simple green here just to keep it wet?
Yeah, typically I work a lot quicker, but talking through this, showing you guys, it takes a little bit longer. But what I'm gonna do is, I've got a little bit stiffer bristled brush here, a little bit bigger, and you can just come in here and clean this. Again, these areas, just like the door jambs, often get missed. Now you can also ceramic coat these. The Rivian that we did, the green one, actually did not get a full coating here because we didn't pull the wheels off. But definitely a service that I would prefer and like to have, just because it makes it so much easier to clean this.
Yeah, later on for sure. Ah, so you're doing multiple directions in there.
Yeah, just kind of crosshatch it, right? So you're not missing as many areas as possible. Even though I'm a professional detailer, I miss areas all the time.
Yeah.
Right? So it's just trying to minimize that as much as possible. All right, so we've got that mostly cleaned down. Now, these are not going to be perfectly clean. Again, if we removed them, we're able to go in, really clean them. That would be ideal.
But nothing we did was harsh today. We didn't use any, real harsh chemicals per se. It was all pretty light. Just everything needs a gentle, light touch.
The biggest thing with wheels and wheel cleaners, I would say, that you guys need to be careful with is not letting them dry.
Okay.
So if it starts getting to the point where they are getting dry, reapply wheel solution and then go back.
Rejuvenate it, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to go in with a strong wash here. This is a little bit different tip, but it's this kind of spins essentially to just kind of loosen all that grime. Not essential. I would probably go with a 25 millimeter or 25 degree tip on here normally.
Okay, makes sense.
So big thing with this, again, especially with like a product like Simple Green, or if you're using an all-purpose cleaner, make sure you're rinsing it off. You don't want to leave it on there. You can actually damage some of the plastic, leaving spotting. But this is now quite a bit cleaner. Like you can rub your hand in there.
Wow.
And just as simple as that. And that's why I really like Simple Green. It's cheap. You can find it everywhere. Goes in there, just leaves it nice and clean. And yeah, I think the wheels look a lot better.
Just look at the difference there. I mean, that doesn't look too bad, but this is popping. So wheels seem pretty easy. I mean, how long do you think on a weekend detail to do something like this? Hit it pretty quick and just make sure you get it clean, maybe 3 to 5 minutes a wheel?
Yeah, if you're spending around 5 minutes a wheel, maybe add a couple minutes here and there, cleaning out the wheel well. It's not something on the wheel wells you need to do every time. Just when it starts building up, let's get that taken away. And
better to do little pieces at a time rather than waiting for it to get really bad.
Yeah, and then you send it to a guy like me and we come through here and just go like crazy and spend 40 hours detailing your truck. So we are actually not going to clean all the wheels in this because it is raining outside. This truck's going to be driven
just a demo video, a how-to.
So let's go through washing process now. I would like the truck down low now, so that we can reach the top sections, have easy access to the windshield, stuff like that.
So we raised it up to get the wheel wells. Now we'll drop it, what do you think, to very low, to the slammed?
Let's slam it all the way down.
And this brings up an interesting point. As you raise and lower the Rivian, especially when it's in park, all of the suspension kinematics change based on ride height, and it binds up the entire system. So what I always do is either inch the truck forward and back throughout the process to unload the whole system, or I put it in neutral, but make sure it's not in auto hold at the same time.
And I'm also going to take these out. So these are a pretty cool tool that we talk about a lot, but it helps the hose not get caught under your tire. So I just want to remove that.
Oh, I got a software update waiting. How about that?
Very cool.
So let's see. Does anyone have the key for this thing?
The key is over here.
All right. Maybe if the phone moves in close enough. I don't think I have the Rivian app open on my phone at the moment. Yep, your truck has a software update. How about that? Love Rivian software updates. Key in the truck. Sometimes if that doesn't work, you can just tap it right over here to the door. So this is always a pickup point for tapping. What I'm going to do is go over here to suspension. To go into very high, of course, we were in off-road. To go to very low, you either have to go conserve or sport. So what we're going to do is put us into neutral. I'm going to put us into conserve, and we're going to go to lowest. And what you'll notice as well is I'll put it into reverse and just inch the truck a little bit. Put it forwards, inch the truck a little bit. Then we can, of course, put it in neutral. And the reason we're doing this is purely to save the parking brake from all the stress, the suspension from all the stress, and it's most important going up, so the air compressor is not trying to push against all of that force. I'm not sure if Rivian has a recommended guidance. Before I put it back into park, I always inch it, just rock it a little bit. And you'll feel the whole thing unbind after definitely. An inch. So there we are in very low. Drop
Window
downs.
Up.
Yep.
Is it still in car wash mode as well?
Yep. I got to actually put it back into car wash mode. Thanks for checking, Colton. Car wash mode back on. And wow, easier to get out of now. Full sport truck mode slammed. You'll also notice that your suspension's happier, raising up and down quicker, less stress on everything, just by inching it around a little bit. Just my recommendation.
Wow, this wheel's dried over here, and look how much nicer that looks. Like literally spending a few minutes on that.
It looks like a polished, crazy nice wheel. Wow, that really pops.
And that's just simple cleaning. And this is Pns Brake Buster. For kind of some info on that, they don't actually say it, which is kind of weird on the actual label, but you dilute this 1 to 5.
Okay.
So 1 part of the brake buster, 5 parts water.
Would you use distilled water or is normal water fine?
Normal water is totally fine.
Okay. And do you recommend tire shine or some sort of tire applicator?
Yeah, so we can talk after maybe we dry it. Let's show how to do that.
Okay.
I use CarPro Pearl and a foam applicator. I like it diluted 1 to 3. Gives a little bit of shine, but then I can go back in and knock it down. I hate shiny tire shine. Slings everywhere. It actually attracts more dirt, which is not what you want on tires. But the biggest thing with tires is to use a cleaner like I did as well with the brake buster. So you can do that when the tire's dry. It's Pns, gosh, I'm trying to think of the name. It's basically a strict tire cleaner. Strips off all the old tire shine. Very important to not get that buildup. That's when you start getting a lot of sling and it just looks horrible. Yeah,
and I know Ammo has this mud solution. There's a few out there that aren't designed to sling and aren't designed to look too shiny.
Right, and I just actually used that for the first time when I was out in California detailing my client's Ferrari. He's a huge Ammo fan. He's like, hey, try some of these chemicals. So very thrilled with that.
Yeah, I'm a big Ammo fan as well. I've known Larry forever, so it's pretty awesome.
So, washing. Let's first talk about bugs, because we're going to start there. So we're going to basically...
And this is, can we just mention first, Bug Central.
Right.
This just eats them. This flat surface.
Well, it's, literally a solid slab there. Obviously, the mirrors get it pretty good.
And this piece of paint is the hardest working piece of paint on the whole truck.
Yeah, for sure. So what I like to use is Pns Bug Remover. And it's, again, one of those things that you can dilute. So if you need a little bit more cleaning, bump up the cleaning power. I think I typically do another 1 to 5 on that.
Okay.
I've got it already pre-foamed down in my IK sprayer here. So what I like to do...
So this is Pns Bug Remover. 1 to 5.
Yep. And the truck is dry right now. So what I'm going to do is essentially do a pre-rinse. So I'm going to come in here and foam this down. And I like these IK sprayers because they give a little bit of foam on here, which allows the solution to stick on there and really eat away the bugs
So it's aerating it a little bit.
Exactly. Whereas if you spray it directly out of the bottle, not a bad solution, but it can not work as well in my kind of opinion there.
Interesting. Now, would you also use this on bird poop?
Not necessarily. You can use a few things, maybe some like waterless wash. You can pre-soak that. Typically, the soap will kind of counteract that.
I see.
So now these sprayers are kind of cool because they are air attachments. So let me show you over here. what's kind of interesting, the more you fill these up, the less they actually put out. So
makes sense.
because there's less air volume in this.
Yeah.
But this literally hooks up to an air compressor. Instead of sitting here hand pumping it.
So how do you know when to stop?
It'll go automatically 60 PSI.
Really? It's got a relief valve.
Got a relief valve right over here.
No freaking way. Yeah. That is cool.
That's why these things are just the best.
I want some of those. That's awesome.
So again, look at the difference in the foam
dang.
now.
That is a cool thing. And it's not a bad thing if you get it on the rest of the paint anywhere?
No, not at all. This is very safe on paint. The biggest thing with this is you really don't want to let it dry. Again, one of those things, you do not want to be using this in the sun.
Right, so paint should be cool to the touch.
Yes, and I'm going a little overboard here because I know these bugs are really baked on.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm used to it. Believe me, I see some crazy cars come through here. All right, so we're gonna let that sit. And next step, I am going to foam it down. So inside this foam cannon is Chemical Guys snow foam. It just kind of picks up that dirt, lets it fall off, especially a vehicle like this that's kind of used and abused. You want to attack that dirt and pull it off before you start wiping it down.
And your recommendation is to use Chemical Guys snow foam over another product for what exactly?
Adams has some other, I've just really fallen in love with this stuff.
Yeah, it foams really well.
Foams well, it doesn't leave any residue behind.
And what's the ratio of water to chemical do you put in there?
So I have it in a 5-gallon jug. I pour 1 gallon of soap in, 4 gallons of water. It's pre-mixed for me because I go through so much soap here that it's just kind of easy and efficient.
Very cool.
So now we're just going to foam down the truck. We're not going to do a rinse.
Can you mention how you use your foam gun as well?
Yeah, so I like to leave this foam gun on spring up and down. This one's cool because you can actually twist it and spray horizontally. I like it up and down. And then you can also adjust the fan pattern here. So it can be like that. And look at that foam.
That's awesome. That is so cool.
So let's get this foam down now, and it is dry. We didn't do a rinse before. You can do either way. I just prefer to do it this.
And I'm always noticing you're starting
off the vehicle, because if you don't get these locked in, it can become a big projectile essentially.
Yeah, so always start building pressure away from the truck.
Right. Want to make a quick point, if you're not always rinsing, like going in and thoroughly cleaning the wheel liners, you can easily come in, spray this in here, kind of pull some of that dirt out and rinse it out.
Now, what are you doing in terms of everything back here? So if you take a look at this back window situation, you're going full foam, but what about here on the tonneau area?
You're okay to foam this. Again, we're still want to clean this. This can definitely pick up a lot of dirt and grime because it is really porous. We are going to get some water in there. There's nothing back here, but
yeah, it's not bad. This can get wet. It's designed to stay outside.
Absolutely.
So it's just if you have anything in the truck bed, be mindful.
We're good.
Okay.
I'll come back around. I just love seeing these things all foamed down. It's just the coolest.
It really is the coolest, for sure. And the hood is so flat, it holds all the foam on it.
What I think is really cool about the chemicals and technologies these days is you can get these kind of results at home with a pretty inexpensive pressure washer setup, a simple foam cannon, some nice car shampoo, and really, really let it go. Look at this here, how this is already starting to work. And that's just the, there's a little bit of bug remover on there as well. But what it does is kind of loosens these up and really starts melting all of this away.
And when you are foaming, do you foam top down or bottom up, or does it not matter?
It doesn't necessarily matter. You could definitely go top up. I kind of go top to bottom in a sense, working around the vehicle. This is okay to sit on here. Important thing with car shampoo is make sure it's pH neutral. So that it's not getting too acidic or not too basic.
Right, because most people won't have the luxury of a beautiful wash bay like this. They'll be outside.
And one of the biggest things to do is never wash your vehicle with Dawn dish soap or anything like that.
Right, because that removes anything protective in there.
It strips it off of there.
Yep, absolutely.
So what I like to do while this is foaming down, because we're letting it work, so let's go over here to our rinse bucket. So we're gonna get these filled up. We've got 3 wash mitts in here. I like to leave them in the rinse first, actually. And we're gonna let that fill. I'm gonna squeeze right in here. And I've got just a gallon of car shampoo here. And you can put typically around 2 to 3 ounces in here. Just that is perfectly fine.
So you don't need much.
No, you really don't. So rinse is ready to go, and then this is our only foam bucket.
And I can see you altering the pressure there to adjust for how much foam versus water you want built up in there.
Yeah, because you don't want it all foam and you don't want it all water.
Sure.
So you can kind of adjust that. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna hit the top section. Now, you could rinse this down, but while it's kind of sitting here, let's hit the windows quickly.
Sure,
and
yeah.
kind of come in it.
You do the side on camera, I'll do the side off
Perfect.
camera. How about that?
So our wash mitt here, important to squeeze this out. And again, we've got grit guards in both buckets. We come back into the soap bucket, hit it on the grit guard a little, and picking up a little soap. Let's just come in here and start washing this down.
So you're hitting the A-pillar first here?
I hit, yes, the A-pillar and then kind of went above the roof there.
Cool.
Not necessarily like have to do some stuff.
And if you bring the camera back here, you can see we're doing straight lines on that glass. Glass
Yep.
is the hardiest piece of the truck. These black panels here, this black spoiler, are the most prone things to scratching. So be really mindful when you're working with these back here would be my recommendation.
And I'm just gonna come in and hit the windshield as well.
Yep,
because
sure.
again, with glass, we're not worried about scratching it.
Yep.
You can
Just don't rub up too much on these A-pillars.
Right, you can move these wipers just a little bit, getting underneath there because it
Okay,
does
yep.
build up. Exactly perfect there, Kyle.
Whoa, no one's ever said that. Did something right.
To wipe down the wipers?
You can. I find that it kind of lubricates it. What'll happen though, if you wipe down the wipers, you're going to put a big streak of rubber in here, which you don't want to do to put back on the paint.
So maybe afterwards with a towel,
Yeah,
paper towel of some kind.
absolutely.
So then this will go into the
I put that in the wrong bucket. That's a huge no-no there.
Oh boy.
So yeah, it goes
Totaled.
back into the rinse bucket.
Okay, so into the rinse bucket. So we've done the roof. Should we continue on the rest?
Why don't we clean the rear tonneau?
Okay.
And then normally what I'd like to do if the truck was super dirty is we could rinse it back off, refoam it, and then start hand wash. But I think in this case, we're okay to.
And we're inside.
Yeah.
But normally what we would do is we would say, okay, the foam did the work. The bug remover's on there. Let's just do it anyway. Let's
Yeah.
just spray it. I like to spray it. I'll do it.
Well, just hit it. You can even just refoam it, Kyle, instead of fully rinsing it down.
Okay, that sounds good. Can do. So this
I'm
one.
blown
on
away
here.
with how nice this wheel looks. Just like, it looks amazing.
Yep. So I'm going to adjust. I'm going to basically come on over here.
I always like starting on the center of the hood here, coming down and working in just kind of straight lines. We've definitely got a little bit of tree sap here. Normally you can just lightly come in, tap it with your nail to get that off. You can also use another product like Tarex, but I find that if they're baked on there, kind of have to come in there and manually do that. Now again, a ceramic coated car would be a lot easier to remove those, so that's another important factor there. Now when I'm coming over here, I'll flip my pad come back in. Alyssa's getting sprayed over here.
Hey Kyle, you're supposed to wash the car, not me. Okay.
Oh, sorry. I'm not as well tuned with the aim as Colton.
So again, wow, look at the bugs coming off. That's letting the product do our work. Now again, if this was a coated vehicle, these would be a lot easier. You can come in and gently scrub. We're not gonna wanna sit here and go crazy on it, but those are really coming off pretty darn nicely for being baked on so long. I really, guys, do not like those bug, I'm sure you've seen those. They're these little kind of abrasive pads that are meant for bugs.
Yeah.
That tears your paint apart. Please do not use
Oh,
those.
interesting. Okay, so don't use those bug-specific sponges.
Right. So come in here and again, gently, just kind of working these in. This is kind of extreme example, right? Because this truck has not been necessarily taken care of. It's kind of weird saying that with the owner staring at me right now, but nonetheless.
We use it like a truck. But it comes back to new.
It does. Yeah, so some of those bugs, again, still a little on there. What I may do is, while we finish this front end up, may fog it down again with the bug remover.
And just keep taking small little bits of chunks each time.
Absolutely. So we're going to continue just working around the truck.
Yep.
Kyle, I've already done the hood, so let's work.
I'll take this side of it.
Perfect.
Okay, sounds good. So, Mitt's in the rinse bucket. Boom.
Hello.
Squeeze this out as always.
So I'm just spraying this down again just to give those bugs the last opportunity to stay on the truck.
Okay, coming around.
So we'll come back last for that. Now, Alyssa, I'll have you follow me around here, and I'm going to show you what I like to do, especially on doors and areas like that. So we're going to see if these mirrors come off pretty well. Actually did with the bugs. Look at that. Not too bad at all. So what I'm going to do is focus on this one door first, because we've already hit the windows here. I'm going to come down straight lines. Make sure we get in the badges here. What I'm going to do is leave alone the black plastic here. That's important because that holds a lot of dirt. We're going to come back in last to do that. So let's just flip our towel over here. Again, just looking out for any of those tar spots that we find, or tree sap rather. And then we will go back to the rinse bucket here.
This rinse bucket's going to be working hard with this truck.
It is.
Look at that ultra watch, just really.
We're ultra here.
That's right.
Both of them.
That's because we have a Rivian. You got to have the Ultra Watch.
Didn't even put it in water mode.
Nope. Don't need to with the ultra. I don't know. I just don't. So again, guys, one of the biggest things to talk about here is washing top to bottom. You definitely do not want to start on the bottom. I know it can be intriguing because that's typically the dirtiest area, but what's going to happen if you do that is you're basically picking the dirt up from the bottom, putting it on the top. So I have saved all of that black plastic trim there. I'm going to hit actually the bed back here as well.
Noticing the PPF is holding quite a bit of dirt inside of it.
And that's a lot of the times, Kyle, what I find with PPF is that it really likes to hold dirt. It really is just not as easy to clean.
If you PPF, highly recommend getting a ceramic coating on top.
And now that we're kind of moved on from the paint, because Kyle's knocked down that side, we're just going to hit the bed here.
And this you do not have to worry about.
No,
you can go
for
to
it,
town.
Scrub it. Now, I've got a specific mitt in my rinse bucket over there that's made for all the lower trim. It is okay to use these, but I would definitely not do those first.
And then not back on the paint.
Exactly.
So now we've touched every inch of this truck. Lightly, gently, no hard scrubbing. The only extra scrubbing I did was actually on the PPF section on the tonneau. Or, excuse me, on the gear tunnel.
I'm going to switch over to this one here to hit the front end one more time here just to get all of these bugs gone now. Yeah, that extra bit of bug remover really helped eat those away.
Yeah, I think bugs are going to be this truck's biggest enemy.
Absolutely.
They even kind of creep into there.
They do, and you can try and get in there with your wash mitt as well. It's a little bit tricky though.
Yeah, there they are.
They are holding on for dear life.
And would you always recommend, one thing we haven't discussed is actually proper usage of a wash mitt?
Sure.
What is your recommendation for how someone should be moving around the paint to try not to, anytime you touch the truck, there's a risk of scratching it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the biggest thing is keeping them clean and then using them in more of a straight motion. You're not wanting to like sit here and you're not putting a ton of pressure. More times than less, you're basically holding it on here, putting a little bit of downward pressure on there. In some areas, others don't really need it. Areas on the Rivian on the front here too, this black plastic is very soft, so be very, very mindful of that.
Very easy to scratch.
Yeah, I'm gonna do one more here. These bugs, again, are really fighting. Now on a coated car, guys, these are just 10 times easier to come off. It's
right, so if you get your
incredible.
truck perfect, ceramic coat it, even though it may not protect against scratches, let's just say, at least it makes the wash process so much easier.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's the biggest benefit with ceramic coating in general. So I'm just gonna come in and quickly hit these areas as well. I'm gonna try and stay off the paint as much as possible. It's important to note too, if you guys drop your wash mitt on the ground, never put it back on the paint. Go to your rinse bucket, really make sure you rinse out the grit guard there and then go back onto the paint.
The nice thing about this truck is there's not too many intricate edges that can catch or that you can rip badges off or things like that. You just want to be a little extra mindful that your mitt doesn't catch an edge of the badge.
Right.
And pop it off, for example.
And this, you notice I'm not flipping this over. It's again, these areas, I'm not worried about scratching plastic because it's very resilient for that.
Right, we're just trying to remove the dirt in these.
Exactly.
This is fun. I feel like the best way to get to know your vehicle and to bond with it is actually to wash it.
Without a doubt.
It's the same for your dogs.
Same for the dogs?
Yeah.
Is that a hint?
Yeah.
Do the dogs need baths too?
The white ones,
Oh,
very good bond.
We can probably foam them down, I would think. They would love that.
yeah. Yeah, Blue would love the foam. That'd be kind of cool.
Professional groomers, they use foam guns.
Yeah.
Really?
For like Newfoundlands and stuff. Yeah.
Huh.
All right, so final step. Now this is not necessarily for you guys because you probably don't have this set up, but I'm gonna turn off the regular tap water, turn on deionized water. Kyle, let's grab one of these 25-degree
Is that one of
tips
these here?
Perfect. And again, making sure that this is in here.
And what if you didn't have a pressure washer?
You can use a regular garden hose. They do make some attachments as well for foam. They just don't foam quite as well.
Sure.
You have to kind of foam it down a little bit more often because it really dries a lot quicker.
Right, and the reason we can leave a lot of this on here, although we're getting right to the edge before we have to wash it, is purely because we're inside.
Well, and that's a nice thing about using pH neutral soap. On here, this is not necessarily going to streak or spot. Now it will if you're outside. pH neutral really helps that though.
Nice.
Biggest thing with this is making sure we get it rinsed down. Man, the paint looks so much better already.
I know.
Goodness
It's actually white now.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So that little bit of protection we had on this vehicle is basically gone now.
Yep.
So I think, Kyle, why don't you open that up for me?
This right here?
And there is a Hydro 2 light.
This one right here.
So this is very similar to Geon. This stuff is a little bit more expensive, but very dilutable. Let me show you guys how cool this stuff is. So this may be a great, product for clients that don't want to spend $2,000, $3,000 to get their car ceramic coated, but you can come in here. And you can rinse this down. What I'm doing is letting the soap around there stay on there so we're not spotting. And then basically you just come in with this, spray it down. It's gonna leave a nice little layer of protection. And this
is like if you are not ceramic coated or you're raw paint like my truck is.
You can put this on top ceramic coating too.
Okay, and it bonds pretty well with most coatings?
Yeah, it really does. And watch the difference of this. Immediately adds quite a bit of water beading. Really, really cool stuff. This stuff, absolutely essential. Do not use this in the sunlight because it can cause some chaos.
Okay.
So I'll like to do a couple panels at a time, basically spray this down, and it's important to kind of rinse it away quickly. Look at that crazy side by side, how the water is just holding on here and really beating up pretty darn nice there.
Yeah, so if you do this every 2 weeks or so, do you even need a ceramic coat?
I think a little 2 weeks. Well, the big thing with this is it doesn't stay as long. Like we didn't do this too long ago and it's already degraded.
Yeah, sure.
The ceramic coatings are definitely a big step up above this, but it's a kind of nice in between, I would say.
Okay, yeah.
Notice that I didn't get enough spray up here. It kind of dripped down here. So I'll hit this a little bit stronger. All right, so let's talk about on the back here, because again, we don't want to just like put as much water as possible, but we still need to rinse this off. You definitely don't want to fully let that dry on there. So I think that's pretty good there. Again, I don't want to come in here and try and do one of these and really soak this down. Not a great plan.
And I'm seeing little bits of soap still left on here.
Of course.
There's nothing you can do.
Well, you can go all the way in, but what we'll do in this sense, because this isn't paint, you can go in with a drying towel
and just
quickly dry it and you're ready to go.
Yeah, yeah, makes sense.
So I'm just going to continue rinsing this off. This side's okay.
Should you spray all of this plastic material with that coating you have? Does it work as well?
It doesn't work as well because it has a harder time bonding to it.
But it's nothing that needs like dwell time, right?
No, it's literally spray on, spray off. I'm going to soak Alyssa over here, so you may want to come back over this way. But look at the difference of that already.
Wow. Kyle. And you can see the spray pattern. You can see where it got and where it didn't get. That's cool.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the biggest things with ceramic coatings is when you apply them professionally, they really go on a lot more evenly. Yeah. And they last a heck of a lot
Depending on how professional.
That's a whole nother subject, but yes. So yeah, even areas like this, just come in and spray that as well.
Wow, that is a cool product. It's been a few years since I've really been into detailing until now, and really the only product in between, when ceramic coatings were first coming out and a Carnauba wax would have been a synthetic wax. And
or a sealant.
Or a sealant, yes.
Yep.
And this seems to have just completely removed that need from the market.
And why I really like this stuff, we'll let this sit on here, it's totally fine. Why I really like this stuff, anytime you're putting wax on a car, you're introducing swirl marks, scratches.
Anytime you touch it, there's a risk of a scratch. And more likely than not, you are scratching it.
Yeah, definitely. Especially with carnauba wax, because guys typically leave that same applicator that's touched every single piece of the car that's not perfectly clean. Not the right way to do it, in my personal opinion. This stuff's way better if you don't want to spend, a couple $1,000s ceramic coating your vehicle.
Sure.
I'm going to let you take the other side so you can see how cool this stuff is.
Sounds great.
Definitely, so we haven't hit this side of the hood, so if you want to work that way around.
Yep. So this way here.
Yep. And it's literally as easy as that.
Amazing.
So cool.
And you can see really the 50-50 more or less.
Look at that.
That's pretty neat. One of the things is, we've noticed this has lasted maybe a month and a half.
Yeah, and you're kind of an extreme example of how much you drive.
Right.
Let's hit the front here. Definitely, let's lay a really thick layer on there so it can help with all those bugs you guys get.
Yep, sure thing. We'll get the headlights. That might help as well with ice in the winter time.
Yeah, it definitely can. I think we should test that. You and I have talked about that before.
Yeah, doing some protection here and leaving this stock because headlight performance on this truck in winter is a big concern. It's going to continue to be a concern as it starts to get snowy. I remember I had the review truck in snow and I had to keep getting out and wiping these things out. Unlike the Lucid, which gets really hot.
Really hot. Definitely was interesting to see that today.
And I can see I missed a little spot with the wash mitt here.
Yeah, I see a few spots, but that's not the end of the world. Just some bugs here, but nothing too bad.
And is it, with this coating, is it still easy to remove that, or did I just lock that in?
Nope, you can kind of come back in and just literally wipe that away.
Oh, cool, because it was basically just sitting on top of the dirt.
Right. Oh.
Yeah, that's just, professional versus not, basically.
Go ahead and just hammer out that whole side and we'll finish this one off here.
Yeah, let's do it. Have you done the tailgate?
Yep.
Cool.
Really shocked to how much that PPF holds in there.
Oh, that PPF really is just, this, first of all, has yellowed massively, so it's a totally different color. Yeah. And really, I can just rub my hand over it and feel everything inside.
It's very gritty.
Now, can you clay PPF and try and pull this out?
You can. That's a very great point to bring up. Clay bar, absolutely do not use it unless you are polishing the vehicle afterwards.
Absolutely.
Essentially, you are just marring the paint. I think that is one of the most commonly
misnomers or something. Bless you, Alyssa.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, because I always see guys that are like just clay and then wax,
and it's like
the paint feels amazing, but underneath it's scratched to hell.
But feel how nice this is already. We've got a nice bit of lubrication on there. That's why I really like
this truck's stuff. Never been polished. It's never been detailed. It's just right on top. It feels great.
Yeah, and we've definitely got a little bit of tree sap. Again, you can just kind of come in here, hit that with your nail. You can scratch it a little bit.
Yeah,
this
we'll add
truck's
some
not
scratch.
fully protected. But.
Right.
All right, so I'm gonna grab some drying towels. Kyle and I are gonna get this dried down.
Yep, won't take long at all with this new coating we just put on.
No, it works pretty nice. I apologize for the laundry mess over here. If you guys don't know, laundry is a huge part of detailing.
Which is why I don't like detailing. Which is why you do it.
And I think we should make an important video at some point talking about microfiber care.
Yes.
And how to maintain your towels.
Well, what I've always done was just throw them away after using them one time, which is not sustainable.
Not sustainable at all, because these are about 30 or 40 bucks a towel you're holding.
Well, that's crazy. You know, I'd buy the, 100 pack at AutoZone.
Yeah, and Kyle, that's not at all what you want to use on drying like this. So these are specifically made drying towels. These are from the Rag Company.
Okay.
I can put in maybe the description or Amazon link there.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll do an Amazon thing of it
If Rag Company sells on Amazon, if not, we'll just link to the product directly.
Fair enough, but yeah, and these towels, again, we're not trying to, we're not cleaning here. So we're literally holding the towel on the vehicle, not trying to put too much pressure in. That's how you can induce scratching. But I really like the feel of that, Kyle. What do you think with having a little bit more protection on there?
Oh, night and day from where it was, without question. It's really, really awesome.
And Kyle's doing a fantastic method right there for drying kind of big areas like that. Alyssa, let's come back up here to the hood. Again, I like to flip these into quarters. So I've got these two dried side. I will not come back to that. So I've got a fresh side here. Just in general, I use Pns Rags to Riches for my microfiber cleaning. They go immediately after being touched on the vehicle, straight into the washer with that, and get washed and dried and ready to go.
to wash those like literally immediately?
No, not at all. You can dry these out. I just don't like to introduce, I don't want to use this, let it dry, come back. That's how you can get into some scratching. I love this method that Kyle's using. Ooh. It's a little tricky for myself to do that, but that's definitely a preferred method as well.
And what do you recommend about drying agents? I keep seeing a lot of, either someone using a little bit of a spray wax or something as a lubricant, or even a specific drying agent product. What's your thought process on those?
So I use them sometimes. I can't honestly tell you why I use them in certain cases and not others.
Well, that's really helpful.
I don't think it's necessary, to be honest.
So you don't think it provides a little bit of lubrication,
It does sometimes, like it can, but I'm also like not super worried about it to where it's like it has to be done.
I see.
I need Kyle to come dry all of my roofs on Rivians.
That's all I'm here for is the roof drying process. It is a pretty high up roof, even with the truck down low. I mean, I'm 6'1", and it is definitely a stretch to get over there in some of those places. But wow, holy smokes.
It looks like a new truck. I mean, it really looks pretty good. We've got a little bit of slickness here.
Just in case a bird poops on it again, that it hopefully won't just eat in. It'll take as a sacrificial layer.
And again, just the bugs up here were pretty severe, and just using that, lightly scrubbing them. There are a few here. If we were going full crazy detail, I would absolutely get those off.
Well, that'll be for another video. This is just maintenance washing, more or less.
Yeah, we just wanted to show you guys kind of a how-to on the Rivians, and some things to think about along the way. Now, what I would recommend, if you guys do have the ability to purchase one of these, are they necessary? No. Are they worthwhile? Absolutely. The biggest thing with these, so if you're going to take the truck now and go drive it, all of that stuff is going to drip out of mirrors, around any little cracks and crevices. It's going to attract dirt. So you're going to take your freshly cleaned truck out
and it's going to get dirty.
Yeah. So it's kind of important to use these. If you're leaving it overnight, maybe kind of keep an eye on the mirrors, wiping those down with these as they do.
And would you recommend blowing it out with this product here before you dry it, or after the truck is dry?
So I like to fully dry it just like we did, and then come back in and do that.
Makes sense.
Now, an important note, if you are not hand washing the car, do not touch it with towels, because essentially so if we were to foam down the car, in kind of in between, foam it down, rinse it. You don't want to dry it with
Sure,
these.
because there's always going to be some dirt
Exactly.
left over, and this
So
is just going to scratch the hell out of it.
That's where you'd want to use one of those, and you can literally dry your entire vehicle with that as
Well,
well.
if your truck's ceramic coated, let's say
You
from
can
new,
use that, and it's
you
just
can pretty much
amazing.
just foam it. Everything comes off. You don't even need to touch it. Maybe once a month you touch it,
Yeah, definitely.
and
So,
that's about it.
yeah.
But that's pretty cool. How
Yeah.
to wash your Rivian 101.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still blown away with this wheel. I'm just like, gosh, that looks amazing.
Do you think there's anything to be extra mindful of with this PPF? Just your impression of some of these air vents and stuff, really, like what is your take on this part of the truck? Just scares me beyond belief, because this is where the tire's coming out, kicking up rocks, and there's an open bit. I believe the early trucks had some mesh here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this one has no mesh. None of the new ones do, at least.
So on the green Rivian, we ended up removing that and left it naked. And that was we have a full 2-part series coming on that as well, kind of talking through the instance of that. That client was going to not necessarily thrash the truck, so not taking this on trails. Can that get rock chips? Sure. Is it the end of the world? No. I think this area may be a little bit more prone, but I also don't see a lot of rock chips in the PPF at all. PPF does get rock chips, believe it or not. And it can actually tear the film up. So that's kind of what I was looking at on your vehicle as more of a test vehicle to see how that was holding up.
Right, that totally makes sense. Well, this is a clean table to put a towel on over there.
Yep.
And overall, yeah, can't thank you guys enough for watching Out of Spec Detailing. Hope you enjoyed the little wash series. I think this was fun.
Yeah.
I learned a little bit, and just remembering the processes, the steps to take. The 3-bucket method, for example, is really important. You really want to separate out your junk from your paint. And I think the key for me always, because I used to wash my cars all the time, would be to really just stay on top of it and light pressure. If you find yourself feeling like you need to dig into the paint, well, something's gone wrong.
Yep.
And that's when you just shoot Coleton an email and be like, hey, how do I remove X, Y, Z?
Yep. Yeah, and I think all those kind of, there's different products for that too. If you've got a lot of tree sap on the car, if it's sat outside, if you've gotten water spots on a previously coated car or even a non-coated vehicle, they do make some water spot removers. You can get into some really tricky stuff. Sometimes I would rather see a professional go about fixing issues like that.
Sure, and one thing as well is if you could avoid washing in the sun, if at all possible.
That's honestly, all this stuff is great. You really should remember
dinged my watch into the truck right there.
The Ultra Touch in the watch.
Yeah, that is the problem with these Apple Watches. They'll chip right into the paint. So
they are clunky.
Thankfully, we're wrapping this thing, and I didn't really do it. But don't treat our truck like we do. But hopefully you learned how to treat your truck properly.
Yeah.
It'll probably go another 6 months without a wash.
Definitely.
Thanks for watching Out of Spec Detailing. See you on another one soon. Bye-bye.